What's up guys, my name is Ace, and welcome back to another gun guide. This is the series where I go into great detail with all of the stats, as well as some excellent attachment combinations for every gun in Modern Warfare 2. And in today's episode, we're finally going to be circling back to the M13C, and without further ado, let's dive right into our damage profile. And as you can see with this gun, we have 3 separate body multipliers, and it's generally going to be a 4 to 5 shot kill, although it technically has a 4 shot kill potential to the body if you're hitting upper torso shots at any range. Additionally, if we just mix one headshot in with some upper torso shots, we can get a 3-shot kill with this gun, so it's definitely in your best interest to be aiming for the head if possible when in closer quarter situations. Next, let's have a look at our rate of fire, which is 750 rounds per minute, and what this means is with a 4-shot kill, our time to kill potential is 240 milliseconds. And while this isn't a horribly slow time to kill, it's also not a highly competitive time to kill. In fact, it is the second slowest killing assault rifle up close and personal to the body. The only slower killing assault rifle is the Lockman 5.56. However, like I said, we do carry that time to kill potential out to an infinite range if we're hitting upper torso shots, and when you start getting to mid and longer ranges, that's actually quite a solid time to kill. Also, like I said, if we can just mix that one headshot in up close, this will reduce the number of shots to kill down to 3, and in that case, we're killing in 160 milliseconds, which is a very fast and competitive time to kill. After that, let's get into our bullet velocity, which unfortunately is probably the biggest downside of this gun. We have a very slow bullet velocity for an assault rifle at just 300 meters per second, and that's going to significantly impact your ability to hit, especially moving targets at longer ranges, and your hit detection is generally going to feel pretty bad at long ranges. In saying this though, we do have a hidden upside to this that isn't mentioned in the menus at all, and this is, with this gun, when you kill enemy players, their teammates won't see a skull appear above their dead body, whereas if you were using a gun with a higher velocity, they would see that skull. Like I said, this wasn't actually mentioned in the menus, but I did do the testing on this, and that skull does not appear. After that though, let's get into our damage ranges, and as we can see here, like I said earlier, it technically has a 4-shot kill potential to the body at any range, but with every damage drop-off, you have to hit more and more upper torso shots in there. But with this, we have a guaranteed 4-shot kill potential out to about 17 meters, and then out to about 34 meters, this is where we're still likely to be getting a 4-shot kill as long as we're not hitting too many limb shots, and then after that is where it's quite common to drop off to that 5-shot kill potential. After that, let's have a look at our Hipfire, which is unfortunately tied with the TAC-56 as having the worst Hipfire spread in the assault rifle category. And then let's get into Recoil, and this is an area where this gun definitely doesn't excel. Not only is there a decent jump with the first few rounds fired, it also has a tendency to kick pretty hard to the right initially, and then it immediately cuts back pretty hard toward the left, and this can be quite a difficult recoil pattern to consistently control for longer range engagements. And combining that with our really slow bullet velocity, that really makes this gun not a solid choice for anything beyond mid-range. As for our handling stats though, our aim down sight speed is pretty much average for assault rifles at 240 milliseconds, and the same thing holds true with our sprint to fire time. This is just standard for assault rifles. However, we do get a nice reload add time on this at just 1.33 seconds, so that's at least one nice thing about this gun. It does reload quite quickly. Now finally, for the base stats of this gun without attachments, let's have a look at our mobility stats. And for our base movement speed and our sprint movement speed, these are both very noticeably above average for an assault rifle, so it is quite a mobile gun. But most importantly, it does have the best aim walking movement speed out of all of the assault rifles in the game. And that's one area where this gun does stand out a little bit as far as assault rifles go. Keep in mind, this is still going to be very noticeably slower than all of the SMGs though. And now it's time to get into the unique attachments, and we're going to start this off with the barrel attachments and how they impact our ranges. And as we can see here, for the 10-inch Bruin barrel, this one will increase our ranges by 16%, whereas the 14-inch Echelon barrel, this will increase our ranges by 32%, so some really nice increases there. However, there are more stats to consider here. Let's have a look at how these barrels impact our recoil. And with this, there is a bit of a standout. This would be that 14-inch Echelon barrel. The big thing I noticed with this is it tends to straighten out those initial 4 or 5 shots fired, so they don't kick to the right to begin with. And there's also less of a jump between those shots. And those are some very important shots when you're firing your gun. So if you're going for the most accurate build possible, that seems like it's going to be quite a good choice, especially when you combine that with the range improvements. However, we also have to look at how these barrels impact our aim down sight speeds. And unfortunately, we're seeing the same trend we see with most of the barrels in this game. With that 14-inch Bruin Echelon barrel that's been looking really good up until this point, we get a very slow aim down sight speed at 329 milliseconds, and as a result, in regular multiplayer at least, I can't recommend using this barrel. It might be a good choice for something like DMZ or Warzone, but not so much for regular multiplayer. Now, since we're on this topic, let's have a look at the magazines and how they impact our aim down sight speed. And with this, the 45 round mag will bump our aim down sight time up to 271 milliseconds, whereas the 60 round mag will bump that up to 293 milliseconds. Now, in my opinion, these magazines aren't really necessary on this gun since it has a pretty moderate fire rate and also a fast reload time. So I never really feel like I'm missing out by not having these magazine attachments. And with that, we can finally get into some excellent attachment combinations I wanted to share for you guys. And the first one I've got is my really aggressive strafing build. And with this, the key here is using that M13C FS collapse stock. This one gives us the biggest boost to our aim walking movement speed. We're also using that 1 milliwatt Artemis laser, the Second Tread 40 muzzle, the Commando foregrip, and finally the Bruin flash grip. And with this particular build, we still have a great aim down sight speed for an assault rifle at 255 milliseconds. It's only a little bit slower than the base. Our sprint out speed is very noticeably improved. It's now 147 milliseconds, which is great. And most importantly, our aim walking movement speed is excellent for an assault rifle in this game at 3.35 meters per second. So with this gun, you do have the ability to strafe while aiming down sight in a gunfight. You may dodge a few shots here or there that you otherwise wouldn't. However, we are sacrificing a little bit of our recoil control. As we can see here, there is a decent jump, especially after that first shot fired. So it is something you have to be aware of. This is not a gun that's designed for longer range engagements by any means. This is definitely designed for those close range encounters. As for the next build I've got for you guys, I decided to create a balanced stealth setup with this. So on this, we have the VLK 7 milliwatt laser. We've got the Echoline GS muzzle so we can stay off the radar when firing our gun. We have the Edge 47 grip tuned for recoil stabilization. We have the D37 grip tuned for recoil steadiness. And then finally, I put the Slimline Pro optic on this. However, if you like the iron sights, you could easily swap this out for a different attachment. Now with this particular setup, we have a bit of a slower aim down sight speed at 270 milliseconds. That's not bad at all though. Our sprint out time is a little bit improved over the base, and most importantly, we get a much more controllable recoil pattern here. And what I find with this is it really allows me to focus more on making sure I land that headshot, and therefore I'm more likely to get that 3-shot kill in closer range engagements. And that's what's really needed if you want this gun to be highly competitive with the other guns in the game. Now, unfortunately, even with this improved recoil on this build, it's still not going to be a great option for longer range engagements, and that's just due to the fact that there's not much you can do about that really slow bullet velocity. And with that, that's going to wrap it up today's gun guide on the M13C. As for my thoughts on this gun, I don't really like it. I think it is a lower tier gun in this game. I mean, it's usable, you can definitely use it, maybe find some success with it. But in my opinion, the pros are completely outweighed by the cons on this, and I just don't see much reason to use it, and I myself probably won't be revisiting this gun anytime in the near future unless it ends up getting a buff at some point. Now, of course, that is just my opinion on this gun, and I'd love to hear what you guys think about the M13C in the comments down below. And if you guys have missed any of the previous episodes of Gun Guys, we are once again all caught up, so I've covered every gun that's currently in the game. I will leave a link to the playlist in the description down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.